there was some. Oh. Welcome to In the Zone. I'm Craig Zimmerman. Across from me, we've got another scholarly person here, Sherri Becker from Marine City High School.
From St. Clair.
Yeah, by way of St. Clair High School.
Absolutely, yes.
And you were referred to me by Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Everybody knows Fred, and you played for Fred.
I played for Fred for 3.5 years, yes,
Okay.
and I ran track for him.
Okay. So, born and raised in St. Clair. Tell me about the schools you went to.
I started at St. Mary's in St. Clair in 3rd grade, went there through 8th grade, then went to what was the old junior high on 6th Street for a year. That's when 9th grade was there, and then went up to the high school for 3 years, graduated there in '89.
Okay.
Played basketball for Mr. Shaw, ran track for Mr. Shaw.
Okay.
Tried a little volleyball and cheer, but those didn't last long. So,
so family, mother, father, siblings.
Yep. Mom did daycare in the area. Probably a lot of people are familiar with her. Pammy's Daycare.
Okay.
She had a lot of our current teachers' kids went through. She did it for 40 years here. So she's had a lot of the kids that aren't kids anymore, have kids of their own.
So she goes for a walk downtown. Everybody knows her.
She knows everybody, yes. And then Dad worked for what was Michigan Bell and Meritech. And while doing that, he started getting into coaching while I was at St. Mary's. So I played for him for 3 years at St. Mary's. And then when I went to the high school, he started helping Fred out my sophomore year. So he helped, and then eventually when Fred retired, he was kind of sandwiched in between Fred and Sandy as the varsity coach out here at the high school.
Okay. Any siblings?
I have one brother, younger brother. He's a couple years younger than me. Played football here in St. Clair, now in the west side of the state.
Okay. What does he do for a living?
He is a construction manager.
Okay.
Yes.
Grand Rapids area? Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's a bustling growing area.
Yes.
So in high school, who were your mentors in high school?
Well, one of my mentors was always Mr. Shaw.
Okay.
You know, I played from him. I unfortunately did not have him as a teacher, but I always heard about him. And then I just fell into his little bubble there, and he is one of the reasons I do what I do now. After high school, I started coaching right away. I coached, started at the 5th and 6th grade level at St. Mary's. And then when we started the freshman girls program at St. Clair High, I was the first coach there.
Oh, okay.
And then had some JV experience before I went down to South Lake, where I taught for years. So he had a big influence on going into education. A lot of young. I mean, if you hear the word 3, everybody knows to clap, and they've all gone through his dance program. And
he mentioned that.
Yes. Yeah, actually, when I started teaching at South Lake, I came and had him show me everything, and we implemented it down there. So.
Sure. And what college did you go to?
I went to University of Michigan Flint.
Okay.
I commuted so I could continue coaching and driving back and forth.
Now, before you became a principal, I'm assuming you were a teacher?
Yes.
Okay, what did you teach?
I taught 3 years at St. Mary's, so a lot of my trail is through St. Mary's, where I taught 3rd and 4th grade. And then I went down to South Lake Middle School, and I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th graders for 18 years.
Okay.
And then I left there and went to St. Clair Middle, where I was assistant principal there for 2 years before I landed in Marine City 5 years ago.
So you've been the principal of Marine City High for 5 years?
Marine City High School 5 years. Okay. And then 2 years ago, I kind of got the middle school as well.
Right.
And then this year, Riverview East was added. So it's a campus now.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. There's a lot to do there.
Yes.
So when do you think you decided you wanted to be a teacher or coach?
I knew right away, probably 6th or 7th grade, that was my path.
Okay.
And that's where I landed. And like I said, I got into coaching as soon as I can. I had an opportunity open up, and I actually started off coaching 5th and 6th grade with Rick Shaw. And from there, I just advanced, and I've coached girls basketball, boys and girls track, boys basketball, girls volleyball, a little bit of everything.
Now you've got children.
I have 2 girls.
Okay. Do you coach them at all?
No, I will not coach them.
Okay.
No, I some of these kids coming through, I have Chloe Austin that just finished with her dad, and I get what it is to play for your parent, and it's not all bad. I had a very good experience. Mr. Shaw and my dad worked very well together and balanced everything, but I understand that pressure of playing for a parent.
Sure.
So No, I will not. Actually, if I'm at one of my kids' events, you'll see me, like Emma played softball. I'll usually be out in right field by myself. So
Right. Okay. Now, so they're 14, so they're ninth graders?
they'll be ninth graders
Okay.
next year. And
Okay.
actually, I have one of my daughters, Madison, goes to Marine City with me
Okay.
every day. And then Emma stays in St. Clair.
Okay.
So I
How did
support
that, how
both
did that
different.
happen?
When I started at Marine City, Jay McCullough,
Yep.
he's our drama producer, and he is very good about getting the staff's kids into the plays.
Okay.
So she started like as an extra in the plays,
Oh,
and she
okay.
thought she was the bomb up on stage, and the big kids talking to her. And she always said, since then, I'm gonna come to Marine City my freshman year. I want to be part of that. And after COVID and sitting home and everything, I'm like, why don't you come down 8th grade year, get to know people, and that way for high school will be a breeze. So
Okay.
she came down with me this year. Emma stayed in St. Clair, where she's been since kindergarten, and it's working out for both of them. And I get to support both ends of the district
yeah.
and
Okay.
run around like crazy.
Okay. Any other mentors for teaching or coaching besides Mr. Shaw that we know?
My dad as well.
Okay.
Basically, those were the only two coaches I really had all my career. Mr. Shaw for track and basketball, and Dad was
Okay.
right there. And yeah.
Well, I
But-
think, especially knowing Fred and the program that he had all those years, the consistency
Yes.
and the discipline,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Those are the two words I
Yes.
guess I would use with
Yeah.
Fred Shaw's program.
Yeah, and then Tony Monty, he
Yes.
had an influence on it as well. They had that biddy ball program
Yep.
going, which you were in 3rd grade here, and you played, and it just led right into the sports season. So they both had a big
Yep.
influence on me.
Coach Monty's on my short list.
Yes.
And I talked to him, and he's coming back to town. So
Okay, yeah, I
shortly I'm going to
should
get
say
him in.
he should be coming back pretty soon. So
I talked to Matt Disselrath,
Mm-hmm.
and Matt had some help from Coach Monty via Huddle.
okay,
So
yeah.
I guess drawing up plays and telling him
All right,
how you can
yep.
do this and this. And I think, if memory serves me correct, I think one of Mr. Monty's or 2 grandchildren are going to be playing basketball.
Okay.
So he's coming back
Yeah,
from
probably the
Florida
boys, yes.
and going to pay attention to that and be involved. And,
Yes.
Matt Disselrath made the comment. He says, I might have Coach Monty sitting in the row behind me.
Yeah, well, those two gentlemen have a lot of people played for the two
Yeah.
of them, so and they had a lot of influence on a lot of us.
Yeah,
And
for
they,
sure.
they developed the teams, and it paid off because when I played for Fred, we always made it to at least regionals,
Sure.
and we're district champs, and then Mr. Monty the same thing.
Yes.
So it was an exciting time.
Yeah, they set the example for the teams coming up,
Right.
for sure.
I remember when I went to South Lake for the first time, we had an open schedule, an open game in our schedule, and I said, we'll play St. Clair.
Yeah.
We're going to get our butts kicked, but we'll drive up there. And, St. Clair Shores City School, we're
Yep.
driving up, we get off at 32 Mile and coming down, and the girls are just looking around.
Where are we
like,
going?
They're like, what do you do up here? Because it's just farm country. And then after the game, when we lost dramatically, I said, you girls don't understand. Up here, this is what we do. You play basketball all year round.
Right.
You're in the gym, any corner you go to. And that's what was the difference between our program back then and
Right.
what other teams were experiencing.
I've often said that's also some of the difference we see in the MAC
Yes.
playing teams like in football. I say they
Yes.
come down 26 Mile
Oh, yeah.
and they think they're never going to get there, and they turn on King Road. And now it's almost, I think this year with the new entrance being off King Road, it's going to be like,
Yeah, going through the woods still.
they're going to be freaked out by the time they get to the parking lot.
Well, and then the game starts, and you have one side, the bleachers are just full, and you got Jesse LeBoom with his boat and flames, and
Right.
yeah, they don't know what they've gotten into.
And then if Marine City scores a touchdown, there's,
Yes, so then you got the
pyrotechnics.
cannon, and yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you can do in small towns, though.
Right.
You have everyone behind you, and that's what you get.
Yeah. So now, some changes in the district just from the standpoint of, growth and people moving around. So
Yes.
you've got a new assistant principal under you.
Yes.
Let's see, Dave Moreau is now going to be the principal at St. Clair High School.
Yes, he's been with me 5 years, and actually we've been together. We taught at South Lake together, so
Right.
we have a long span here. He's going to St. Clair to be their principal. Chris Reinhardt, who is currently in Richmond, he will be coming over to join me down in Marine City as
Okay.
my assistant in AP.
Will he be also handling some of the middle school duties?
I have, this past year, I had Jess Simons who joined
Okay.
our staff, so it's the three of us.
Okay.
She predominantly handles the middle school and helps with Riverview East, and then Chris will mainly handle the high school and support Jess.
Will he also be the athletic director?
At the high school, not the middle school.
Okay.
We have Scott Westerhoff that's
Yep.
going to help a little bit in the fall at both middle schools with
Okay.
athletics. And since St. Clair Middle is getting a new principal and assistant, he'll help the two middle school assistants learn the athletic part of
And I
it.
think we know that gentleman. That's Bruce.
Bruce will be at
Yes.
St. Clair Middle, and then his assistant is Renee Belke.
Okay. A little bit of change.
Yes.
But there's always a little bit of change
Yeah,
in the district.
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, the subject has come up quite a bit, the subject of, say, numbers
Mm-hmm.
of population of school. Now, I pay attention to it just because in the football scenario of, you know, what
division.
size we are and what division. I'm taking this from memory, so it may not be exact, but in the late 90s, early 2000s, we were like 810, 823, I think is the highest. And then with the downturn in the economy in like 09, 10, we've dipped down into the sixes, and now we're in the low fives, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
we know that there's a growth naturally that's coming north from the city, but it's not coming super quick.
No.
We know that. I'm guessing that the trend is still going to be down a little bit.
Yes. The high school's hanging about 520, between 520 and 540.
Yeah.
The middle school right now is, next year we're going to be under 300. Our current 7th grade class only has 77 kids.
Yeah.
And our incoming 6th grade only has 90.
Right.
So we're going to be low, which will affect us for, till those classes graduate. So yeah, our numbers are down.
Well, if you took 80, that's 320.
Right.
That's
Yes.
that's a big drop.
Yes. Yes.
Is there
So-
some thought that might curtail off and start growing again?
Right now, we're just hoping it levels out.
Okay, right.
The south end, we're pretty much leveled out.
Okay.
I know the north end, they still are dipping with their numbers. They're going to see a decline still.
Okay.
But that's kind of why, with the projection, looking at the numbers, why we did that bond.
Right.
And why we're going through that process now. So soon, where we have the middle school and high school, we'll all be on one campus in the same building.
Right.
So.
Okay. So St. Clair, I'm from memory again. I think they were as high as low nines.
I think at their highest they were in the 1200s, I believe.
were
That
they
was
then?
a why. I think
Okay.
now they're. I wanted to say high 800s.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're down. They're projected to go down a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
You know, the dichotomy of that whole subject becomes that issue of the growth. I mean, you
Right.
look, it's gotten to 23 mile, it's gotten to 24 mile.
Yeah,
but
we
that-
keep waiting for it.
Right, but it's, and I've had this discussion with others, the issue is you've got 26 mile, you got a 12 or 14 mile drive in.
Correct.
And
Yes.
then even
and,
St. Clair at 32, you probably got a 6 mile drive in, so.
and within that 26-mile stretch, you go through a couple of school districts.
Right.
You hit Anchor
Anchor
Bay.
Bay.
If you go to the west, you have New Haven.
Right.
So it's tricky when out there where people land. And as much as we've had houses for sale and the turnover within our two cities,
Right.
this is a good place to retire here. So we're not
All right.
drawing the kids
Yes.
like we would hope. And then if you get them here, it's just like, all right, we got a couple 3rd graders or a couple 7th graders. So
Right.
it's not like enough for a class
Right.
of. So
It's hard to think back, but like I can remember the days when it was 810, 820.
Oh, yeah.
And that people don't realize the difference in the size of the school
oh yeah,
of everything.
right.
I mean, like when you've got 820 compared to 520, I don't know the number, but how many more teachers do you need, right?
Quite a few, yeah.
So hopefully
Yeah.
that, like you say, levels off and
Yes.
goes, stays about the same.
Right.
Any other news out of the two schools down?
I know we're just looking to get our bond work going down at
Okay.
the south end. Actually, I left today and they were contractors in looking to get bids out next week. We're
Okay.
projected to start our build, our remodeling in August, September.
Okay.
So that'll be exciting for us to finally see the bond work hitting.
Now, I've heard this issue, and I don't know that I've heard the answer. There was talk that and it could be purely speculation. Are they eliminating a wing on the middle school?
There will be parts of the middle school coming down, yes, and
Okay.
that was originally in the bond project.
I'm guessing it would be the wing that goes to the south?
Yes, both of them actually. The one on the far west, the foundation
Okay.
is crumbling. So,
Okay.
and then there's some speculation about the other wing as
So
well.
where the office is?
Actually, the new office, when it's all remodeled, will actually be on Ward Street, which is our address. Because right now we're like everyone uses
Right.
the King Street loop between the middle school and high
Yep.
school. We're actually going to have a Ward Street entrance
Where
when
the
it's
other
all said
loop
done.
is?
Yes, where the
Okay.
Ward Street loop is. So we'll
Okay.
actually be a Ward Street address for our entry.
Oh, so you'll have your offices, will they be at that end of the building?
Yes.
And not where they're at now?
Correct. Yes, the
Okay.
offices will be moving. Our athletic entrance will be moving where it's down the corridor between the two buildings.
Yep.
It'll actually be moved more towards between the band and pool area.
yep.
That entrance, that'll
Yep.
be our new athletic entrance.
Okay.
So some changes coming.
Sure, sure. Well, you know, I've had this discussion probably once a month for the past few years. The middle school, from the perspective of age, to a lot of people, they go, well, that's not that old. And I say the same thing, it doesn't seem
Right.
that old. I was the first class in that.
Okay.
So, you know, it's
Right.
from 1974,
Okay.
give or take, 84, 94,
Yeah.
04, 14, 24.
Right.
We're almost 50
Right.
years old.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that-
even our newest building in the district, which is St. Clair Middle, is
Right.
going to be 22, 23 years.
Right.
That's our baby school, so that's got some years on it now too.
Yeah, and Marine City High School, I think, was built in the
Oh.
50s.
I believe right around there. Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of people don't understand that
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking buildings that old, I mean, there was no electronic internet. There was
No.
no technology. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
There's no
issues.
air
Right.
or the circulation at the high school, so that'll be nice to have when
Right.
we get it done.
So now, if you can answer, what about the issue of at Central by the stadium?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, am I using the right term of STEM?
It's going to be our innovation center,
Okay.
which is going to be, it's yet to determine what classes. A lot of our STEM or Project Lead the Way classes will end up there. But the intent is, because our schools are getting smaller, what we can't offer at either end to hold in the middle,
Right.
so we can run the class for the kids that are interested.
Right. So explain to our viewers what STEM means.
STEM is your science and math, science, technology, engineering, math program.
Yep.
We use Project Lead the Way. We use their engineering program where the kids have CADs and 3D printers and build and all,
Okay.
I don't know all the technological terms,
Right.
but so we started that, well, I know Suzanne was there, so at least 10 years ago.
Okay.
We're at the high school level, and this year we can switch from STEM to Project Lead the Way at the middle school level. And it was open up to our 7th and 8th graders, so that will feed right into the high school classes.
Okay. So there
Yes.
might be half a dozen classes for high schoolers
Correct.
that you'll be having kids come probably bust.
From their own school to the Innovation Center, maybe half a day.
Right.
We're hoping to, the possibilities are open right now, but maybe get some actual college courses that are like an English class that our kids take through dual enrollment. Maybe we can get the actual instructor right on our campus for
Sure.
the kids and things like that. So,
Well, I'm also amazed at some kids that graduate, and I'll hear when they go to college that they've got a whole year
Yes.
already set up because they took college
Yes.
prep class.
yeah, they have the opportunity to take either AP or the dual enrollment
Right.
classes. So they're going in as sophomores to college right now.
Which, from a monetary standpoint, can save the parents or the student a lot of money.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we're a CLEP school, which is a college level entry program, which the kids can go on a website called modernstates.org, do an online class at self-paced, and then they take the test to see if they pass the exam, and they can get credits that transfer to various colleges around the nation.
Okay.
So that's another opportunity our kids have as well.
Now, do you see any, like with the new, say, I'll call it campus at central office, will there be any scenarios where kids might even do it remotely?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
We're looking for more hands-on,
Okay.
I hope there.
Sure.
We're looking to partnership with the community, see what we can get in there to help us out. I know, personally, I know in the spring, I always get some calls looking for kids who are 18 or older because they need workers in the trades,
Sure.
you know, around the various businesses. So I'm hoping we get enough partnerships there that we can make something happen for our kids and bring it to the campus
Yeah.
to get them the training they need to leave us and go right into the workforce and start a career.
Sure. Well, that's like when you look at a lot of the trades, whether it's a plumber, whether it's a carpenter, whether
Everything right now.
Yeah, everything right now. I mean, make very good livings without
Yes.
even having to spend money on an education.
And right now,
Yeah.
they're paying you to do the apprenticeship to
Right.
just because they need bodies.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I
Good
mean,
career to go in right
yeah.
now.
Well, and you look back too, though. There's never been an abundance
Right.
of plumbers,
Right.
Or you know that if you need, and you look at society today. Society is all about call and we want it now.
Correct.
So with most companies, you talk to anybody that's a plumber, anybody that's a carpenter, any of these trades,
Yes.
and ask them when they can show up to do something.
You're weeks out.
Right. So we need that for sure.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
appreciate you coming by.
Absolutely.
Sharing the news about the new programs and the new people coming to the schools.
Yes.
Anything else we should ask you, I guess?
Not that I can think of right
Okay.
now. We're just rolling. Just
Okay.
got through graduations and ending the school year and
Take a deep
already
breath,
planning
right?
for next year.
sure.
So it's all good.
If you or anybody know anybody that wants to be interviewed that you think would be interesting,
Absolutely.
pass them my number. Number's on the screen, 586-707-5811. Well, thank you to Sherri Becker for being here today. And as I always say, don't touch the dial. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Pretty hard.